Today, let us learn about syphilis. It is a sexually transmitted disease which is caused by Treponema pallidum. So, this Treponema pallidum, it is having a corkscrew motility. So, this syphilis can have in different stages. The first one, it is the primary stage. So, this is actually where you get hard chancre. Here, the incubation period it is 9 to 90 days. That means for almost it is 3 weeks. So here, chancre means it is actually an ulcer. So an ulcer or a chancre develops, and what is the characteristic feature of this chancre in syphilis is very important. It is painless and it is hard with a regular edges, usually single. So this ulcerated lesion it is usually single. You get many ulcers very rarely, and this will be painless and it is hard, it is indurated, and it is having regular edges. Now, in primary stage, you can also get inguinal lymphadenopathy. So the lymph nodes will be, it can be either unilateral or it can be bilateral, and they will be very shorty and rubbery to feel, but at the same time they are painless. So both the ulcers, that means the chancre, and also the lymph nodes, both are painless. And this chancre it can self heal in 1 to 4 months. So Dory-Flop sign is positive in these patients. Now you can get extragenital chancre. So apart from the genital sites, most common site where you get it is on the lips. So that is the most common extragenital site where you can get this chancre is in the lips. So for diagnosis, you can actually take a smear from these ulcers and you can do dark ground illumination. Now what is chancre redux? So chancre redux means if primary chancre is not treated or if it is treated inadequately, so that there is a chance that it can recur, maybe weeks after or months after it can recur, and that recurrence is called as chancre redux. So redux is actually meaning the recurrence. So this is actually the sign of relapsing syphilis. So that is all about primary stage. Very important to remember is about the chancre, that means painless chancre and painless lymphadenopathy. Regarding the secondary syphilis, so in the secondary syphilis, the spirochete, so Treponema pallidum is actually a spirochete and it will be disseminated in the bloodstream if the primary stage is not treated, so that you get this secondary syphilis. So the most common feature which you can see here, it is about the rash. So again, this rash is also non-itchy and it can be macules, it can be scaly papules or plaques. So, but you cannot get any vesicles here. So it can be either macule, papule, plaque like that, but you cannot see any vesicles. And also it is important that palm and sole will be involved in this lesion. In syphilis, palm and sole will be involved. So here you can see the palms are involved. So the picture where the sole is involved, you can get the rashes on your sole. So again the rashes on your trunk. Apart from that, what are the features that you can see in secondary syphilis? So the most common feature that you can see, it is the rash. Apart from that, you can also get condyloma lata. Condyloma lata is it is actually cauliflower like masses, the flat cauliflower like masses which you can get in moist skin like groin, anus, like that. So it is very infectious, it is moist in appearance. So it is very important to remember that condyloma acuminata is actually caused by HPV virus, human papilloma virus, but at the same time condyloma lata is actually caused by Treponema pallidum. That means it is in syphilis. Now you can get generalized lymphadenopathy. So it is diffuse non-tender lymphadenopathy. So it is non-tender. Now you can get mucus patches. So this is the most classical lesion and it is the most infectious lesion. So in the mucus patches, it is full of trypanomas. You can get some erosions on the tongue. Just like this, you can get some erosions on the tongue. Sometimes such a few erosions can coalesce and they can form snail track ulcers. Just like this, what you can see here. So the other feature which you can see in secondary syphilis, it is moth-eaten alopecia. So here you can see small areas of hair loss on the scalp. So this is moth-eaten alopecia and it is non-scarring type. So in this secondary syphilis, the Ollendorff sign will be positive. So Ollendorff sign will be positive in secondary syphilis. That means when you give a pressure with a blunt object on your palm or the sole lesions, you get severe tenderness. Now this is a great imitator because it can mimic many other diseases and it can have systemic involvement, inflammation of various sites, like it can cause either a glomerulonephritis leading to proteinuria, or it can cause gastritis, hepatitis, meningitis, uveitis, periostitis may also be seen. So in case of latent syphilis, so we have said about the primary syphilis, secondary syphilis. In case of a latent syphilis, the disease is actually inactive. So usually after secondary syphilis, automatically it gets inactive. That means patient is asymptomatic clinically. But at the same time, if you are doing some serological test, serologically there will be evidence of infection. In case of a tertiary syphilis, it is actually tissue invasion. So it is a hypersensitivity phenomenon. The trypanomas will be difficult to demonstrate. So it can involve skin, it can involve CVS, CNS and all. So in case of the skin, it is gummatous syphilis. So here you can get certain nodules which can develop on the skin. Now after that it gets ulcerated. So when it gets ulcerated, you get deep punched out ulcers which is having a gum-like secretion on the floor. So that is gummatous syphilis. You can see the picture of such punched out ulcers you can see in this picture. So sometimes it can even affect the bones, gummatous osteitis. So it can affect the nasal bone, it can affect the hard palate nasal septum like that, so that can cause perforation. So now it can even affect cardiovascular system or central nervous system. So when it is affecting the CVS, usually it is affecting the ascending aorta. It is causing aortitis. So that can lead to ascending aorta aneurysm, coronary disease, aortic aneurysm like that. Now in case of the central nervous system, in case of the tertiary syphilis, that will be neurosyphilis. So CNS can be involved in any stage of syphilis. Even in primary syphilis also CNS can get involved. It may be in the form of asymptomatic state. Now in case of a tertiary syphilis, you get tabes dorsalis. So in tabes dorsalis, the posterior column of the spinal cord is getting affected. So now we will be discussing about congenital syphilis. So transmission from mother can occur at any stage of syphilis. So it can be early congenital syphilis, then it is within the first 2 years of life, or it can be late congenital syphilis, that means after 2 years of life. So in early congenital syphilis, it is resembling adult secondary syphilis, since the baby is getting infected through mother's blood. So these all are actually the features of early congenital syphilis. The first picture, it is rhinitis. It is the most common sign, or it is the earliest sign that you can get here. Now another one is the most classical feature, it is bullae. So that is syphilitic pemphigus. Apart from that, you can also get some mucus patches. You can get condyloma lata, and here you can see the diaphyseal, epiphysitis and osteochondritis. The first picture, it is parrot pseudoparalysis. So it has actually no relation with the bird parrot, but it is actually the scientist who found this, whose name has parrot. Okay, so parrot pseudoparalysis. And the second picture, it is a Wimberger sign. That means there is a localized bilateral metaphyseal destruction of the medial proximal tibia. So these all are the features of early congenital syphilis. In case of a late congenital syphilis, it is after, when the baby is getting affected after 2 years of life. So that can actually resemble the adult tertiary syphilis. So here you can get interstitial keratitis, eighth nerve deafness, and the first picture which you can see, that is Saber tibia. It is due to periostitis of tibia. Then saddle nose, then frontal bossing, that is Olympian brow. And the other thing which you can get is Clutton's joint. Clutton's joint means it is the painless. Though it is painless, you can get symmetrical swelling of the knees. Now also in this late congenital syphilis, you can get perioral radial lines. So all these are features of late congenital syphilis. Now the last one is about stigmata. So regarding stigmata, it is like the remnants and the scars of previous congenital syphilis, like Hutchinson's triad. So it includes Hutchinson's teeth, eighth nerve, deafness, plus interstitial keratitis. So this is Hutchinson's teeth. Here you can see the peg-shaped incisors with a notch, and this is mulberry molars. So the molar teeth is looking like mulberry. So all those were actually the features of congenital syphilis, its stigmata. Now we will be discussing about diagnosis. So the first picture which you can see, it is dark ground illumination. So it is for the visualization of this treponema. Now the other test you can do is VDRL test, and the other one you can do is FDA antibody test. So as a treatment you can give penicillin. So when the patients receive penicillin, a febrile reaction can occur, that is Jarisch-Herxheimer reaction, and that the reason behind this is actually when you give a penicillin, it will kill the treponema, so there will be release of antigen that can result in a temporary inflammation. So that is why you get this Jarisch-Herxheimer reaction. It is a febrile reaction after the administration of penicillin. So in that case you can give antipyretics. In case of a severe reaction you can give oral steroids. So that's all about this topic. Thank you.